Yeah, you can see them budding now, like.
My name is Moncon McGann. I work with Home Tree, a charity working to establish and conserve permanent native woodland in Ireland. And this is Ireland's oceanic temperate rainforest. This moss-clad tangle thicket of stunted, gnarled woodland is often rich in birch and oak, and can have ash, hazel, willow and alder also growing through it. Many of us have likely seen such places at the base of a valley or on a sloping Atlantic-facing hill. They are part of our natural landscape, but we've just never given them much thought. Beyond their ecological importance, which is almost unquantifiable in its breadth and extent, there's also a sociological and psychological importance to them for us as a society. The key is in our name, Gael. The term Irish is modern and English. It doesn't really represent who we are. We were Gaels. We still are. At one time we all spoke Gaeilge, the language of the Gaels. And Gael means forest people, or wild men. We come from the bush, from these wet, dank thickets of woodlands that once covered 3/4 of the island. It was in wet, mulchy woodlands, such as these temperate rainforests, that our ancestors first settled. They are our natural habitat, and over millennia we gradually developed our lives, our minds, our culture and society in them, around them and through them. Our relationship to this native woodland has been complex in the past, but it's vital that we reassess it now and begin as a matter of urgency to rejuvenate the remaining woodlands that still cling on in forgotten pockets across the island. We are fortunate to still have tracts of the indigenous rainforest that these trees developed in clinging on throughout the island. All of us should now be doing whatever we possibly can to safeguard them for the future, not only for ourselves, but for our descendants and the animals, insects and future of life on this planet.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Limerick, the venue for the European Ultimate Championships 2023. We begin the Wednesday with some mixed power pool action. Power pool F going on behind us. Italy taking on Ireland, but we are focusing on Great Britain versus Germany as these top four teams jostle for position in what is a bumper division. Benjamin Rees, delighted to be joined for this one by the one and only Hannah Pendlebury. Hannah, I've got no idea how this is going to play out, and I love it.
Absolutely. Well, these two teams faced each other 4 times so far in the lead up to this European Championship. The last time they met, of course, was in the semi-finals for Windmill, where the Germans went 15-12 over GB, but of course 3 breaks to start for Great Britain. They had it all in their hands and they just let it slip through the fingers against this very athletic and very tall German side.
Great Britain this time starting on offence. Keim has Wilson as the first option. Swing goes to Dick. Going to utilise some handler movement first. Wilson takes off downfield. Helen Thompson. Germany doing a good job off that initial gainer of just forcing everything through the handler set. Wilson clears through and Kime pivots round. Gets it back. Now the rapid Taylor. Fakes an inside backhand. Nice switch passed off there by Germany. Roberts has gone deep. Roberts is the option. And Dix Huck goes out of the side of the end zone.
Well, I'll tell you what, we know that the Germans like to scout and have very smart coaches on their board. And the matchups there were really good. There was some solid switching to really try and cluster GB together. They were well spread, but they just couldn't get free with the same ease that they have against maybe some of the other teams here in the division, Benji. Yeah,
I felt like the deep shot actually wasn't a bad look. They set it up quite well, and Roberts had a few steps deep, but GB with some execution errors on that deep shot.
That's also not Roberts' sort of main position. She's usually in the handler spot.
Miriam Förster, just with a little dish out here to Turk. Fakes the backhand to the force side and then goes offhand into Blechler. Pick called downfield. Germany would love a break to start the game here.
Well, who wouldn't? Dream start, right?
Wallace, all off the hands of Turk. That's not going to get it done. GB looking for the quick pickup with Kime. Now Helen Thompson. Thinks about threatening the around break, does. Goes back to Kime, utilising that inside channel well. Taylor gets free and gives Great Britain the hold to start the game 1-0.
Well, our first 2 turnovers of the game in the opening point. Not how things started the last time these two faced each other, but 4 times in advance of a tournament. Obviously, these are 2 of the strongest teams here in the division. And of course, we said, the bumper action we've got from the mix this season. Of course, a very important game to decide the top of this power pool, also on the pitch behind us, Benji.
Yeah, so at the moment, how it stands is with 4 games played for everyone in the power pool. There are 4 teams tied on 3 wins and 1 loss. Great Britain, Ireland, Germany and Italy. If Italy and Germany win, then the pool finishes in order: Italy, Germany, Ireland, GB. If Italy and Great Britain win, then it's Great Britain, Italy, Germany, Ireland. If Ireland and Germany win, Germany, Ireland, Great Britain, Italy. And if Ireland and Great Britain win, Ireland, Great Britain, Italy, Germany. So any of these teams could still finish in any of the first 4 spots. Of course, ideally, you'd like to win the pool. You get the bye into the quarterfinals, which is nice to get a little bit of the rest. And I think as well, France are looking the most likely team to emerge from the top of the other pool, and you probably want to face them as late as possible.
Absolutely, Benji. The enjoyable thing about that mixed power pool format.
So here's the German offense for the first time. We'll see how it looks without Dennis Holzer, who has picked up a knock in that Italy game yesterday for Germany, and I'm not sure if we expect to see him back this tournament. There's the deep shot. It's going to require some bid from danger to get there, and Jakob Diekman was, in truth, always struggling.
Well, the same outcome for both O-lines then starting out this game, although that one a little bit faster for the turnover.
Severin Kuchel with the deep shot. Rather than have one player look to just try and put a like-for-like replacement in the Germans, they're kind of trusting their teammates collectively to pick up the slack. Boxall fakes downfield. Link tries to shuttle and scuttle her way free, and on the high stall, Boxall puts the hammer up. McHale answers. Now McHale shooting for Ruth Taylor, and I think that shot's going to be too far. Just about. Taylor's bid was valiant, but the sideline won in the end. I love the way the Germans scrambled around that setup from Great Britain, poached very smartly. And a foul on the mark, which is quickly accepted. Andy Turner just getting a bit too close to comfort on Jakob Diekman there. Priyan initiates underneath, but a pick frees her. Bailey Melvin Teng, the defender, is going to catch up.
And a full Bristol lineup of female matching players for this D-line point. You got Link, Smith, Melvin Teng, and Taylor.
Good spot. Upline cut from Hogan, past the bidding McHale. Now Hogan looking for the deep strike, right in stride to Levka Volchak. One apiece.
It's been really interesting watching Volchak at this tournament so far. Obviously a player we've seen really rising to fame probably back in 2019 at the Beach Championships, where she was doing real damage on the sand, kind of became one of those big threat players that coaches, like to have a game plan for. But this tournament, she's just one part of the system. She's not really doing too many moments of absolute star prowess. Of course, one of the reasons for that is there's many stars on this German mixed side, but it's really nice to see her have to play so much smarter and kind of fit within that German system. But to talk about the female matching player glory, as you mentioned briefly, Benji, the bracketing when GB had the disc by the female matching players is what forced that big shot over the top to McHale. Of course, another player who also had a very fantastic time on the beach back in 2019, of course, grabbed that dirty gold, the bronze medal with GB Mixed Beach. I'm looking forward to the next time we get some Beach Nations action.
Me too, but I am more than happy watching how it all unfolds on the grass for the moment. They isolate Taylor in space in the centre. Great Britain told me that they wanted to try and use space more efficiently. Taylor resets to Vile. And now Sam Wilson. Quick release to Dick. Dick wanting to shoot down the inside channel. Brilliant put, just out of reach of the defender. And Phi Kwon makes it 2-1.
Where you could tell that Dick was given that underneath, being pushed towards the disc because he's such an intense receiver to try and cover. That one narrowly avoiding the fingertips of Caroline Tisson, though. So a squeeze through shot. Some of the clears from the backspace for GB were a little bit messy at moments, but they cleared out the structure. And even though that one sat and hung, Kwon taking off nice and early and reading it very well.
You're just able to float that one over the outstretched arm of Caro Tisson. Great Britain retake the lead.
And I want to talk about the sort of rhythm of this game so far. It is very swift. Obviously, with Great Britain only completing one pass on their defensive opportunity to get a break in this game early doors. The highest pass tally so far was the opening possession for GB with 10. Ever since then, they've not even made it past 5 completed passes to get these scores in.
Well, tempo, I think, is important for both sides. You want to be able to play the game at your own pace, and a lot of players will come over from single-gender divisions where the paces might be slightly different. Germany with a bit of an error trying to field that pull, so they're going to have to start from their own end zone. Lewis goes for the run through on Diekman, doesn't get it. Hogan shooting deep again, this time Priyan's the target. And Priyan put a big bid in and came very, very close.
That does seem to be, again, a real sort of mirror image in this game. Those deep shots either hanging or just a little bit too far, but Thompson to pick up.
Lewis, now it's his turn to try and stretch it. I think the far sideline is probably the favourite for that one. Did Agnew toe the sideline?
Well, the GB teammates on that far sideline seem to think so, but there'll be a disagreement from Lasse Hogan.
We can have a look at it here from the high angle. It seems good to me. Obviously, what we think is not the important thing. It's about the players on the field coming to a resolution they're happy with. Nikki Preen's taking an injury sub, holding a jaw a little bit, so maybe just jarred that on the layout. Levka Volchak's going to come on. Not a bad injury replacement.
Already said, this team is full of stars. 2 Eurostars, in fact.
And they're going to switch out Great Britain as well. Josh Briggs coming on in place of Cam Agnew. Briggs fakes down the line. Lewis wants to jink and jive his way free. He's not going to be able to. So the swing goes to Kovshov instead. Players poaching through the lane. Briggs gets the disc. It looks like there's a pick downfield though. So back into Kovshov's possession. Great Britain did generate turns in their loss to Ireland yesterday morning, but didn't punish them with the frequency that they would like. They squandered a break opportunity on the first German O point. Can they punch in here from the short field? Blading around to Lewis. Lewis isolates Beeching at the front and goes through. Ross Nugent just found that soft spot and catches first break GB's way, 3-1.
Well, that beautiful toe-in on the far sideline from Cameron Agnew really doing the business for Great Britain. You said, Benji, that loss to Ireland was all about not taking the opportunities when they came. We know the Germans, especially against GB, are capable of having comebacks. But one of the players that's really impressed me as we get another look at this scoring possession. Lovely continuation, the timing for Nugent to hit that front corner because he was nearly going to run out of room. A little kick spike. But Nikita Kovshov coming out of deep space, maybe someone that isn't one of the household names yet for Great Britain in terms of, you know, the stars that come out of our home nation, Benji, but he's impressed me so much in the earlier games for Great Britain. He's just a really reliable receiver, sort of gets out of jail free a couple of times for Great Britain on some of their maybe errant passes I've seen so far this tournament, but just a real kind of level-headed individual. The way he executes his throws, I mean, obviously that inside break backhand did have to come back on the pick, but that was absolutely smooth as silk.
One of the few players on this GB mixed side who were kind of not really interested in trialling in the single gender divisions, was very clear that they wanted to play for GB mixed. That was always the goal, and obviously playing mixed in the club season for Deep Space, kind of wanted to keep playing this division, and has proved a worthy addition to this roster. Paul fielded by Kushel. And now Metzger. Nice gainer down the sideline to Volchak. Swings around, Prunes. There's two long-time teammates on Seagulls. The Hamburg women's team. Diekman centres to Volchak. And now dishes to Kushel on this near side. Volchak again. Desperate to not allow the up line to go. The around goes to Mari Förster. Metzger. Prunes comes all the way through off the front. Breaks quickly. Volchak toes in bounds. You can see her just check her feet. A couple of players try and just jag their way free. Förster wants to go to Volchak in the backfield. Has it as Great Britain stiffening here in the red zone. Female matching players running things in the handler set at the moment. Prunes with a shot to the end zone that's defended. Boxall got in front of Metzger. Great Britain rewarded for just slowing down the German offense enough.
Well, it was a little bit of a loose disc. You could see that play coming all day long. It looked open and tantalising in the initial moments, but Metzger closed the door on his fingers.
First pass swings. Boxall rips it, looking for McHale, and the theme of neither side really connecting on their deep shots continues. Went to it very early in the stall count. Obviously liked the matchup, but the throw far too flat and towards that far side.
And there is a switch off actually now. Lasse Haugen taking on Conor McHale. So GB clearly liked that one a little bit better.
They're looking for the deep shot again. Turner's trying to cover Diekman. Diekman comes over the top. A rare deep shot that hits so far in this game. Kuhol. Back to Hogan. Trying to blade down the sideline. And Pruse tones the line well. 3-2.
Exemplary spirit from the clipboard bearing Cameron Agnew as well, signalling that one. No concerns about the footwork there for Svenja Pruns. As you say, one of the few deep shots we have seen come off in this game, that one to Diekman. Of course, we did have GB's own Cameron Agnew on that far sideline with that solid toe work off a rather expansive shot too. But some lovely continuation to get it done quickly. So the first real true slowdown in this game after getting the break. The GB team push Germany to make 17 passes for that first attempt to their offense, of course, then getting turned and responding in 6. But that was really, I think, about getting the matchup right in this game. You want to have the right athletes, sort of, the handler marks defending the handlers. There's a little bit of switching that went on. As you say, they took on Connor McHale. Oh my goodness, I need more coffee this morning, clearly.
Have you just merged Connor Hogan and Connor McHale and Lasse Hogan?
Well, it's Connor McHale and Connor Hogan, of course, Hoagie Hogan, who do a lot of media stuff together for Ultimate. So that's who probably wandered into my brain. Of course, Connor McHale wearing that 00 jersey in, I believe, a tribute to Jonathan Goose Helton. Get well soon, Goose.
Yeah, normally we see him wearing 88 in the club season, which is taken on this GB side by Cam Agnew. Taylor wanted the dish off there, but a couple of players in the space. And Taylor goes to Thompson. They switch onto Kwon, but a bit too late, and Kwon comes through. Germany themselves will try and slow down the Brits as they get into the red zone, just as Great Britain were able to do on the last German 0 point. Time comes back out. Great Britain with a lot of intent to keep the disc on that far side so far. Feathers one into Kwon. And Cheeky finds the window through to Briggs. Not much of a lane, but well executed. Force sags off to prevent the around from Helen Thompson, and again. So back to Kime. Kime with the low round, and it skims through the grass, looking for Lucy Barnes. Just an execution error there. Both sides, again, maybe struggling a bit when they get into the red zone, and Germany's plan is clear. They like the deep options, and Kwon got a hand on it. Was very nearly collected at the second attempt by Saskia Neubert. Good focus to try and get the second effort, but Kwon did enough. Miscommunication, Kime pulled out. Turk continues through. He goes short to Lurking. He's looking for the big man, Blechler, and he rises for the German break. 3 apiece.
Love the camaraderie and spirit there shown by Andrew Dick. There aren't that many players that can take the cap off of Andrew Dick, but that one goes in the hands of the man with such stature, Marvin Blechler, who's been going from strength to strength with this Germany side, the 28-year-old. And that's just a real theme across all 3 divisions for the Germans. They have a lot of players with titanic stature. You got another look there at that wonderful near redemption of the block from Saskia Neubert. Of course, Neubert, one of the defenders who is indeed taking a lot of these feisty matchups for the female matching players when Germany mixed are out on defence, and deservedly so. Watching her in the opening game against Ireland was a thing of beauty. Taking on the likes of Sarah Melvin. And of course, this pool is just so packed of talent. And do you think there's any crossover of that fire that GB clearly took into the Czech game yesterday, Benji?
I think they'll certainly be hoping so. The Ireland game was a disappointment for them. That was the overriding emotion. But yeah, evidently they took it to heart, and they were ruthless against the Czech Republic, 15-2 in the end. So, you know, hopefully they've kind of taken a lot of lessons from how they played that game, the intensity that they used, that will hold them in good stead for the rest of the tournament. Caro Tisson pulls. Josh Briggs is going to field from the floor. Not convinced that that landed in, and Briggs is going to indeed brick it.
Well, GB setting up on a side stack and unsurprisingly trying to isolate Sam Wilson, one of the fastest players probably in this mixed division.
The fact that Caro Tisson pulled should tell you that there are 4 female matching players at this point. Dick to Roberts, who is back active after not playing during the Island game. Taylor pumps the fake to Wilson and goes back to Dick. Wilson gets it now. Helen Thompson on the near side. Wants the shot to Briggs, trying to put a lot of edge on it. Briggs going up against Wenderholm, and Wenderholm was not going to take any chances.
Yeah, that's a really smart play from the mark of Tisson. Really just focused on being big, getting felt, not anywhere near the actual hands of Thompson. So you see that sort of setup for the play again.
I'm not convinced I like the choice of shot there. That backhand break down the sideline, you've got so little margin for error.
Well, this is the thing though, so the big flustering mark, the flying body of Caroline Tisson really put pressure on that throw. I think she'd committed to it quite early, and so there had to be that little bit of adjustment, and that's what ended up with it landing out of bounds. But you're right, the same third huck, very difficult to execute.
So Tisson catches the first pass from Hernschmeyer, and that one going high, too high for Stulis. Briggs will pick up once more again, same plan. We're going to isolate Wilson for the first pass. Dick coming through out of the side stack. Wenderholm tried to poach in there. Briggs motions Dick out. Wilson spreading over towards the far side. Helen Thompson. Briggs goes deep again. Thompson, crafty, through to Roberts. And Roberts continuing for Kwon, and just took the wrong line at the start and couldn't readjust.
I think, honestly, she'd stopped on that cut head, Kwon. But always difficult to run down something being chased down by Melina Kosznitsky. And I'm currently being chased by wasps.
Yes, we've had a big wasp problem this week.
Any suggestions in the live chat of how to trap and destroy wasps would be very much appreciated. They're impacting this tournament now that we don't have rain. We have wasps. It's like biblical plagues out here.
Pick your poison. Lutterman. Goes back to Hernschmeyer. Hernschmeyer breaks to Wenderholm. Now Hogan. And ripped from Hernschmeyer, the longtime friend and teammate Caro Tisson. And again, neither side has got that deep game truly firing.
She wasn't even really looking for that. Tisson had been given a big old bracket. Obviously someone with an amazing arm that you really want to deny getting underneath for the disc, but she wasn't really moving until that throw went up. It's a nice visionary shot, but needed a lot more touch on it to get there.
So this point turning into a bit of a grind. Third possession now for Great Britain. And again, here comes the deep shot. Helen Thompson this time is the target, going up against Joanna Erdmann. And Erdmann did just enough, got position. Thompson tried to come round and lay out. Couldn't adjust.
Yeah, it seemed like she was trying to make decisions and pick her moment for the second effort on that one. Really great coverage, especially to go around that shoulder. An early read of where the disc was going to land.
Maybe get sucked in slightly there by Erdmann.
And they're really long time. The time that the Germans are taking, it's not a delay of game, but they are really patient in bringing the disc back in. They don't try and go for that fast counter attack. They just try and set themselves correctly and trust the systems.
Kosznitsky finds Tisson. Wisniewski can't get herself free. A lot of players in that area. Dick trying to get aggressive on the mark of Hernschmeyer, who blades over the top to Venderholm. Now Krasniewski through to Lutterman. Things seem to be clicking a bit more rhythmically for Germany on this possession. Tisson, oh, with the blade over the top. Venderholm is wide open, and Germany take their first lead 4-3.
And that, folks, is why you try and deny Caroline Tisson the Frisbee in her hands. That's why she was given that big buffer into the deep space that tempted that ambitious deep shot. But, of course, a timeout here. Ooh, timeout being taken by the looks of the signal from Fee Ray there, wearing a lovely purple visor and alongside her leg cannons. But we'll take a break here in the booth, Benji, because that is a bit of momentum change in favour of the Germans with 3 on the bounce.
(4-3) Germany in the lead now with 3 on the spin to take a lead on Great Britain. A very happy looking Cara Tisson having thrown that blade for the score, and Great Britain told us that they were happy with their ability to generate turns, but they needed to be more clinical when they had it. And on the last 2 points, I think maybe it's a case of that old thing biting them again.
Well, that was their O-line coming out. And it's nice to see some players who normally play on defence. Number 42 there, just in your shot before we, of course, switched to Mark Simpson, giving us a little bit of love for our cameras. But I believe Smog Captain that normally plays on the D-line, or certainly has done in her previous national careers.
You got a little statistical breakdown there of what's happened so far. Here's the pull from Germany. Lewis Fields to Mikhail. If the GB O-line does get broken a couple of times in a row, they do look to switch things up. Mikhail fakes out Dick and then goes to him in the short space. Here's Agnew. High release to Mikhail. Agnew again, waiting for Taylor to unveil herself. Thompson's not free. Mikhail wriggles and eventually squirms away from lurking and into the end zone. Bailey Melvin Teng gets the position and puts GB back on the board for a piece.
Yep, solid body control displayed by Marvin Blechler, not to steamroller Bailey Melvin Teng. Of course, not a stranger to having injuries. She spent a season on the sideline with her arm in a sling, but that was a bit of a power line for Great Britain, pulling across, I believe, both Bailey Melvin Teng and Colin McHale, who have been coming out more often on defence for Great Britain, but it pays off. 2 players deeply involved. You see Taylor there, of course, having played with Black Eagles in the past, now an Iceni star.
Yeah, and played GB World Games, of course. So more than happy playing at the very top level of the mixed division.
But yeah, the Scottish mixed team, I kind of miss Black Eagles, Benji. I miss watching them play really great halves of Ultimate against the top clubs of the USA. Of course, back in 2018 was the last time they came out at the World Clubs level.
Is that damning with faint praise?
No, I mean there are not many European teams that could really hang tough for that long in games against the like of AMP and Mixtape.
It's just weird saying playing really good halves of Ultimate.
I mean, take the win, mate. Like if your closest domestic competition is a 2 or 3 hour drive away, at the very minimum, then bringing stars that can really hang tough, because I think it's just that little bit extra kind of personnel depth is one of the things that's the kind of advantages for those US sides.
Diekman initiates underneath. And that one, the form not quite right, low into the turf. Great Britain looking to capitalise. Thompson wants to go quickly. Swings to Lewis, and Lewis to McHale. A lot of those same players still out there. McHale again going with the deep shot, and he is frustrated because he knew as soon as it left his hand that that was wrong.
Well, one bad turn deserves another.
It was a good choice of shot, just the execution was wrong.
Exactly. One bad turn deserves another. It was the same thing with the undershot to Priyan. Always a good idea to throw it to Nicky Priyan.
True. High release, around to Kuhol. Diekman, you see, he's still got a bit of tape on the left hand after previously being in a cast. Last time we really saw him out at Windmill. Priyan underneath. Beeching applying the force. Now Volchak. Wanting to take the reset. Has to go a fair way backwards to do so. Hogan. To the inside. Beeching, Beard couldn't quite get there. Kuhol again. On a high stall now, has to put something up, shoots deep to Volchak, and Link reads it well to get in the way and get the block.
Yeah, it almost felt a little bit like the look over the shoulder there for Levchak was what saw her come undone. Too worried about who else was around, not really busy enough making a play on the disc, and capitalised upon by Link.
Again, GB looking quickly after the turn. There's a rather hefty collision in the centre there.
But let's talk about this Germany offence for a brief moment, Benji. There are moments where they are leaving each other very sort of static, sort of trotting around as a group. The spacing is nice, but the initiation, I'd like to see a little bit more fire coming out of them, because it seems like they're just sort of waiting around for someone to grind themselves open. And the matchups, you just cannot just use foot race speed in this game. You have to really commit and do something different, make maybe some bigger shapes.
Agnew will get it off the resumption. Disc is going to come in on one, it sounds like. Everyone's set, and Hogan checks in. Link struggling to clear through. Oh, the push pass over the top of the mark. A devilish way to get it off in the high stall. Beeching leaves for Boxall. And gets it now, low to the ground in front of Priyan. Swung back round to Boxall. Metzger comes a long way off on the mark just to fill the space and prevent the break throw. It prevents the opportunity and presents McHale into Agnew, who fakes the rip into the wind. Great Britain break to get back on top, 5-4. The game continues to swing this way and that, Anna.
Well, that push pass over the top of the mark, allowing Carla Link to show us her layout form. She's been working on it this season, you know, always going from strength to strength. Of course, having played in the juniors division, in fact, aging up when she was under 17s eligible. She played for the under 20s squad back in 2010 in Heilbronn, Germany.
I mean, there's that push pass again from Agnew.
Absolutely, but it's not the most fancy redemption, just a really, you know, textbook layout, great form, nice and balanced. But Link is someone who is really kind of committed in sort of a chunk of her career. She took a bit of a break off, stepped back a little bit, and then decided, no, now's the time to re-energise, got herself fit, got on that 2019 squad from Gjør that obviously took home another gold medal for GB Mixed, unbeaten so far at the European stage.
Yeah, won every edition of EUC in the mixed division to this point so far. By the way, on the pitch behind us, the other game to sort out who finishes top of this power pool. Ireland have taken half on Italy, 8-2.
Oh, wow. Well, that is a statement, isn't it? So
Yeah.
remind us again, Benji, what are the likely impacts of an Irish win here?
So as it stands, obviously this game a lot closer than that one. An Ireland and Great Britain win would see 1 Ireland, 2 Great Britain, 3 Italy, 4 Germany. Whereas if Germany could flip the script, it's Germany 1, Ireland 2, GB 3, Italy 4.
Well, this game has flipped already twice.
And yes, there are permutations if Italy win, but 8-2 down at half, and we've seen them, have those deficits before, and they can eat their way away at them. But that is a huge deficit to overcome against a team the quality of this Irish mixed side.
Well, and let's just say this, Benji. I'm sure the Italians would have had a very interesting morning this morning, as all of the ultimate nerds who have social media will be fully aware of. Also, massive shout out to our live chat, getting involved as to the best way to alleviate our Media City Wasp problem.
It seems like we might have some amateur apiarists in the chat.
We love to see it.
Our beekeepers, for those of you who are maybe probably not native English speakers, it's not a word that you would necessarily have come across. And to be fair, even some native English speakers will almost certainly very rarely come across as well.
Well, maybe that's the fairest way, Benji. We need to just be wearing some beekeeper outfits. Maybe we can get Eurodisc to sponsor them.
Volchak underneath on the near side, going back into Metzger. The visored Metzger has Prunes in plenty of space, and well, that time Lewis knew exactly what Prunes wanted. I think a bit of miscommunication defensively for Great Britain, but Prunes undercooked it and Lewis blocked it. Simpson, I think, just wants some support, trying to put it out into space. Taylor gets the call to leave for Andy Lewis, and now Kovshov. Melvin Teng, tight on this near side. Wonder if she'll try and get a bit more lateral space to go. Oh, the high release break around. Lewis had already stopped to go up line.
Really like that active movement from the force on Priyan, keeping the hands nice and high.
Lewis drops to prevent any deep options, and that allows Volchak to go short to Metzger. Metzger again puts a bit of air under the backhand break to Volchak, who goes with the lefty into Nikki Preen, 5 apiece.
Well, that is a very easy way to score, but you can see the effort required for the full stretch of that point. Real heavy laboured breathing for all of the athletes coming off of the pitch, which is a testament to how far these two teams are pushing each other. We talked yesterday in one of the open games, Benji, about sort of what percentage of potential execution the teams out on the field had been pushed to thus far in this tournament. And it's one of the beautiful things about the mixed division is that the strength that we have had across the board and in these sort of, earlier stages games, I think most of the teams here have been pushed to reach their highest levels of execution as they've tussled and caused all sorts of mischief with the results.
And it's quite unusual sight here because we are not used to having the cameras on us, very much usually have them on the field. But there is a film crew here who have been making a documentary about this German mixed side this season. So it's, I must admit, a little unnerving to have cameras pointed at you. There's a reason I'm usually behind the microphone rather than in front of the camera.
Well, big shout out to Charlie Eisenhood, who has a bit of a thing for putting commentators on camera. I'm just glad, Benji, it's not a fisheye lens. And massive shout out to Force Ultimate for supplying us with gear that actually fits female matching player bodies.
And it looks good as well to boot.
It does. It looks very fine indeed.
Roberts underneath to Wilson. Vile. Helen Thompson low. Underneath the layout block from Tim Stewart. Just a little bit behind Briggs, and that was all the window the defensive wizard needed. Kosnitsky into the gutter Venderholm. Baumgar. Oh, a bit of a riser for Kosnitsky. She's got plenty of time underneath it though. Kosnitsky looking for Tisson, but Kwon got in the way. Briggs indicating the plan. And it begins with Kwon coming underneath, dishing through to Vile. High release to Briggs. Someone peels to come through, and that leaves Sam Wilson open, and that is a bad idea from a Germany perspective because he makes it 6-5.
Yeah, looked to be Tim Baumgart there. Made a late decision as well as an ambitious one. I don't think really there was any opportunity to make a play on that disc, and leaving Wilson that free in the end zone, it's always going to be exploited. To be honest, leaving any player that free on the front corner, you've got to throw that throw. Unless you've got, you know, I don't know, maybe like you're trying to throw around a literal fridge.
I don't know, if you've got a wide enough pivot, I'd back myself.
All right then, Benji, that's the social media content that the people both deserve and need.
What, me throwing it around a fridge?
Yeah, how many successful attempts can you throw around? And not just in any sort of normal European fridge. I'm talking like Big Daddy style American double door fridge with the ice maker.
Okay, I mean, if you can get one to Limerick, fine, we'll give it a go.
There you go, folks.
I know that Studio 55 doesn't have one.
It does not, but we'll be there this evening. Of course, bringing you that sort of live chat style. We've had the Germans on twice.
We have. We had Torben and Nikki from Germany Mixed on Saturday evening after their showcase victory, the come from behind win against the Irish, and Holger and that's Holger Beutenmüller and Jonathan Meyer-Bodling from Germany Open dropped by yesterday, as did Joshua Poltok and Nicole Lafiata from Italy Mixed, and they explained to us the meaning of the Italian hands. And Anne Menard and Paula Bass from Netherlands Women as well. And if you want to watch that or any of the Limerick Late Night Lives back, they are, of course, free on our YouTube channel. Floated to the flame-haired Förster. Nugent trying to make himself a nuisance as the deep shot goes, looking for Hogan. He read it well. Diekman is the next option as Kovshov switches to provide the mark. Now looking for the give-go motion, and Priyan just too quick, too well-timed. Sixes. Yeah,
both teams really trying to throw through the handler space quite often. I mean, that one, the stack was well far back from the disc and the action. Really enjoyed, I think it was Hogan with the high sort of backhand fake to try and sort of, you know, spook the mark of Kovshov. Not an easy task to do, that's for sure. But a solid hold. We're now trading out so far in this game. Of course, if we continue to just trade and get even numbers of breaks, this will be a victory for Great Britain. Just to remind you, they did start this game on offense.
They did indeed, and I mean, neither side really offensively has been particularly clean. That was the first clean hold for Germany, just to put that into perspective. But
well, that's probably a reason to favour Great Britain, isn't it?
Well, you would think so, but again, I know that they'd be disappointed that they haven't hit on that conversion percentage as frequently as they would like. Just 2 for 5 on break chances so far.
Well, let's have a look at the last time these two teams faced each other.
Back in the windmill semi-final.
Absolutely, because we've got the full stats of that one, Benji. Looking at these Germany conversion rate, they did manage to do quite a decent job. They took 42% of their break opportunities, so nearly half.
Break to Taylor, who has time, created that separation. Back to Keim. And Keim continues going around to Kwon. A couple of players not sure who's active. Nice quick hands on the snag from Wilson to Briggs. Looking at the end zone. Wants the scoring pass, can he find it? Goes back to Kwon instead. And now Keim. His turn to have a look at the end zone. Still not seeing the option. Just working through Kwon again. Just providing that trusty release valve. Now Briggs as Germany forced Great Britain backwards somewhat. Into the gut of Wilson. Wallace making himself big on the mark. Goes back to Kwon again. Kwon taking the around to Wilson. I think just trying to coax Germany out of their shell a little bit here. Dick, a step outside the end zone. Oh, floats that one to Keim. He's got plenty of time to chase down though. But just does lose a bit of the offensive momentum. Kwon, very loud sideline. Kwon shoots for Briggs, who goes with the trailing edge for the grab. Oh my word, heart-in-mouth moment. Or for me, more likely throw up in the mouth moment. But Briggs got it to work, 7-6.
Throw up in the mouth moment?
I hate trailing edge catches. They make me so nervous, so anxious. But Briggs, he went with it, he committed, and it came good.
Well, maybe it wasn't quite the nicest execution of the throw from Kwon, but she was allowed it very, I thought, fairly easily by Miriam Forster. Kind of, you see, not really any movement. Look how much space she's given underneath. I mean, she's just been sort of more utilised as a reset, like a cog in the machine for Great Britain, but she has shots too. And Briggs makes good of the big old poach off on the underneath. But all holds since that break to take back the lead, 5-4 for Great Britain. And as you say, more clean holds for GB than for Germany as we approach half. So can Great Britain now take the momentum here again in this match by getting a break for half? A potential power line out on the field. Do we have one? Well, we've got Mikhail on, readying himself for the pull. Thompson, Link, Lewis, Melvin Teng, and of course Andy Turner, formerly of Chevron and Deep Space, who's been making a name for himself on this GB mixed squad. That number 36 just tucked behind Conor McHale. So it'll be Thompson with the pull.
Yeah, and that gives you the signal that we have 4 female matching players at this point, because the dominant on-pitch gender numerically pulls the prescribed pulling rule that came in maybe just post-pandemic, really.
So they'll now be joined by Smith.
Becky Thompson pulls, it's going to hang. Metzger fields, first pass flipped out to Hogan and then to Volchak, isolating Priyan in plenty of space. And Mikhail is poaching off into that space that they tried to clear for her. Germany recognise, play through those handlers with the marks very loose. Diekman to Volchak, who pops up for the grab. And now Preen. Hogan tries to chop his way down the sideline. And the Germans instead going to swing their way around and swing their way for the turn.
They swing their way all out of bounds. It's a nice idea for Svenja Pullins, but she couldn't find a moment to make a play on that disc.
GB want to get back in play quickly. Mikhail goes to Lewis, first pass. Melvin Teng comes underneath. Now Mikhail just hints at going into the backfield before coming up line. Swung to Lewis. Lewis right into the breadbasket of Smith, who goes to Turner. Turner fakes the up line, swings instead to Link. And now breaking down the far side for Thompson. Lewis just peels off the back, for the deep shot. That one's popped up. Going to be a few receivers in the area. Ended up in Turner's grasp, but Lewis took out Priyan somewhat.
Yeah, that was not a pretty release. A nice idea, sort of sitting into that pivot, sort of Japan ultimate style. You see a lot of the Japanese players sort of do go for the crouch to get low rather than really extending the leg outwards, but kind of the sitting back, you can see the center of gravity was what caused that sky ball, being just a little bit hung too back, too far. But don't know if there's going to be a call on this, perhaps. Did look like both Germany players went up a little bit too ambitiously early on that high one, that Turner was just there to collect the trash afterwards.
Yeah, I think the discussion will be about had Lewis not come through and somewhat cleaned Priyan out of the equation, whether they would have had another shot at it. Bit of a stressful game, perhaps, from the Eurodisc best perspective hand cam.
But if you're on the O-line for Germany, you've got to be sick of playing defense at this point.
They are going to retract any call, and Turner dishes off to Lewis. Lewis takes on the break to McHale. Brilliant grab, but not in just yet. Focus still required, and couldn't get it. Tried to sneak with that, utilising the momentum to get round the mark. Popped it up for Link, but popped it up a bit behind, and Link couldn't snag it again. Once more, looking for the deep shot. This time Hogan nails it onto Volchak. Volchak goes all the way back to Preen. Plenty of upline space there for Metzger. Volchak. Diekman plants, comes to the front cone, and it is 7 apiece, and we've got ourselves a galaxy point, Hannah.
It does seem like both teams are really struggling to execute much action on this left-hand end zone, as our camera views have it, on the near side of the field. That front cone on the far corner has been really getting so much love during this game, and yet another score reeled in. Diekman coming under. It was an unfortunate missed opportunity there for Great Britain after making that heroic save with that big layout catch. Conor McHale unfortunately throwing behind the back shoulder and at the offhand as well. Carla Link is a right-handed player and really had to try and force her torso round to get that offhand catch behind her back. See another look at it here. Conor McHale with an easy, I mean, you know, for him all those layouts are fairly easy, but you can see there's just that missed edge, but that had to be pincer perfect. As we see another look at that final Germany score. But timeout being called here, Benji. By which team, do we know?
I didn't see, but both sides have two to use a half, so it makes sense to use one here because you cannot take it with you. So as it's 7 apiece, we've got a galaxy point coming up for you next.
Yes, he will.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Seven each, galaxy point. Germany will receive to begin the second half. So how much they would love the break here and get kind of that mini freebie after half time.
It is quite a big one. I have to say, I agree with Looking, who just just told us off there. That would be a huge one.
So Andy Lewis has crossed over to the O-line for this galaxy point. Helen Thompson with the pump fake. Josh Briggs Down the line, past the bidding defender, Lewis should punch that one in, does punch that one in to Thompson. It's the risk reward. If you go for the bid and you don't get there, there's no force on, and in the end that means we're on serve going into the interval.
Well, also very interesting, there were lots of very tight defenders, as you say, making bids, trying to really squeeze GB. Really excellent break from Josh Briggs. That was kind of the hockey assist there, set up the momentum on the break side. But the player in the end zone, the defensive choice to just bracket a little bit more, maybe a bit more awareness there, could have made that a tighter, more contested catch. But in the end, a very easy goal claimed by GB to finish off this first half.
Yeah, it's a game that has swung this way and that. Here was that break from Briggs that you talked about.
Yeah, you can just see Greta Lutterman there, sort of the bit of lackadaisical D, not how you get a break coming out of the first half.
Also, Lewis, his momentum took himself out of bounds. He didn't actually correct himself in field, but there was, I think, nothing recognised there by Germany, or if they did, they decided that it did not affect. So half-time here in this contest. Great Britain 8, Germany 7.
Yeah.
8-7, Great Britain leading Germany here, half-time in this mixed power pool action. There's the story so far. 2 breaks aside, 12 turns aside, despite the fact that Germany have just the one clean hold to Great Britain's 4.
Yeah, Benji, you could really cut this one with a very, very thin blade indeed. I said sort of in the latter stages of that first half, if you're on the Germany O-line, you must be getting a little bit sick of having to play defense at the moment. But there's every opportunity for both sides in this match. Currently on serve with GB, that natural advantage from winning the toss. So a break here for Great Britain would be a real statement. So we said before, the last time these two teams played against each other, it was GB who had the early lead.
3 breaks in the spin off the bat. So 3-0 up without the O-line ever having taken the field.
And certainly the players who were really impacting for Germany in that one, Lily Trautmann, the number 24, 1 goal and 3 assists in the previous game. Baumgart as well. Of course, the loss of Dennis Holzer must be playing in the mind for Team Germany. But really, at the moment, GB on form. Their stars seem to be pretty well together. Likes of Josh Briggs and Conor McHale for the male matching side of it. And Ellie Taylor, of course, always doing damage alongside Bailey Melvin Teng.
Yeah, Ellie Taylor is so quick, and obviously she's got more to her game than just the speed, but it is something that teams have to game plan for, because if they don't, it will burn them. So Germany, as we mentioned, receiving to begin the second half. Love to know what was said during their half-time huddles, how they can try and clean things up. See, there is some chat in the YouTube comments about the statement that Germany put out on their Instagram this morning.
Well, we've been requested, Benji, to say very few things about it, but certainly some culture clashing.
The upshot of it is that they have lodged kind of a notice with the EUC about the behaviour of one of the coaches during yesterday's Italy-Germany mixed game, during which there was a spirit timeout taken to help address the issue. Second half is underway. Diekman back to Metzger. Usually see Diekman doing more damage downfield. He's got the disc in his hands now. Again, back to Metzger. Metzger's not going to take the break on there to Kuhol. He's going to go deep to Diekman. Always going to be a tempting target, and I think was suckered in there. Simpson went up early, and that meant that the disc went over him, went over Diekman as well, and into the end zone.
Yeah, really smart play from Simpson. You could see that one being ground out. It's a little bit of a late shot, so I don't think necessarily Diekman had his best head on to make that play, but considering the height mismatch, going up for the little guy.
Still just the one clean hold so far for Germany's offense. Beaching to Boxall. Boxall wants the shot, looking for Simpson. Got the block deep one way and gets the catch deep the other. Leading throw to Agnew as there is a foul with Hogan on the ground away from the disc.
Yeah, immediately accepted, so he'll be allowed to catch up a little. Kovshov isolated in that far side of the end zone. So this indeed for that big juicy break coming into this second half after the miscue again from Germany O.
They've gone to their deep game a lot, and unfortunately it's been more miss than hit. So just waiting for things to get checked in with no one around. Agnew ground checks to resume. And down the line, the simplest of dishes from Agnew to Kovshov. A Great Britain break to begin the second half. 9-7, opening a little bit more separation.
Well, the isolation was there and simplicity, the name of the game for that break for GB. They took the first in the opening stages of this game, and the Germans then responded with a 3-point run from their D-line. But which 7 athletes are we going to see coming out on the field here for Germany? Of course, they are, as we already mentioned, missing Holzer, who is such a big part of the stats board. Unlikely to be back in this tournament due to that injury. My favourite wasp avoidance comment thus far, suggestion, is to burn coffee, which actually is something we are possibly able to do here, but some smoke really being thrown by GB in this game.
So Germany with plenty of work to do offensively. Sticking with the O-line though, trust that they have it within them to work out those kinks we've seen so far. The 7 currently on the line for Germany: Diekman, Volchak, Mari Förster, Metzger, Preen, Hogan and Kuchel. I wonder if this is partly the team adjusting to the loss of Holzer, who is so often such a key piece for their O-line. And they said they expected a lot of players to kind of to collectively pick up for the absence of Holzer, but it's a bit understandable that maybe the offense is not quite clicking as it otherwise might be. Metzger fields very low to the floor, but catches cleanly, and then the leading pass to Hogan is just too far. Mikhail with the quick pickup. Lewis just about, and I mean just about, gets underneath it. Mikhail wants it back. Smith is wide open, and Smith shows the sideline as GB break again, 10-7.
I'll tell you what, my eardrums are taking a bit of a battering from this GB sideline. female matching players streaking past our booth, their lungs expressing their joy here. I tell you what though, Benji, I think GB are getting a little bit, I mean, you make your own luck, but there are a couple of moments in this game. One goes to mind of that kind of overshot one from Thompson, that two white shirts underneath it, neither able to make a play because they just went up that little bit too early. And then just Turner there behind the pack. This one, an absolute scoop of ice cream for Andy Lewis. I mean, he's an incredible athlete, but that's some squeaky bum time, as we'd say in the UK.
Yeah, Mikhail looked like a bit of a relieved man in the celebration there.
But hey, you can still come back if you're Team Germany, but right now, the GB with all the momentum and all of the largesse in the world. So it just took one simple moment. The overshot for Lasse Horgan. Tried to lay it out, but GB looking in very fine fettle. And I believe, Benji, GB have done a little bit of shortening and tightening of their lines in the midsection of this game, doing that a little bit earlier. We still have plenty of clock left to run, just over half an hour of regulation time here for the Germans to get themselves back on top, but it's going to be quite the task to do it with the amount of energy coming off of this GB mix side.
The rolling pull from Great Britain as Germany cross their D line over now. So Tisson, Kosznitsky, Venderholm, Hernschmeyer, Erdmann, Baumgarth, and Lutterman. Haven't seen Troutman in this game.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's a big loss, certainly, if she's not cleated up. But we'll find out for you, folks.
Torben Hernschmeyer fakes Tisson. The break is going to pop up. The 294s, neither of them get there. Kovshoff again wanting to strike quickly with maybe Germany's defense not set. Kovshoff not linked down the line. Who is going to be the option on the high stall? Boxall comes through. Kovshoff back to Boxall. We couldn't quite wrap his hand in there. 11-7 might have been a dagger to German hopes. There were 3 breaks up at halftime against Italy yesterday, and that just kind of illustrates what's going on for Germany right now. Thrown right into the hands of Great Britain. Kovshoff airing it out, looking for Ruth Taylor. Mel Kosznitsky does really well to get the block.
Not really a great surprise. Kosznitsky, such a decorated career, obviously played on that Germany women's program back in 2019, and a Mainzelmädchen athlete herself. Spates her career highlight, of course, as winning windmill with Mainzelmädchen back in 2018. They had the World's Club Championships campaign in Cincinnati.
Long swing wide to Lutterman. Tisson going short to Baumgart. Baumgart to Erdmann. Certainly looks more in stride for things this possession for Germany as Tisson catches to put the Germans on the board for the first time in the second half. Boy, they needed that, but again, they gave Great Britain 2 opportunities and maybe could or should have been punished.
Well, I think maybe after us mentioning that GB had a little bit of extra luck sprinkled across the pitch in this game so far, the Germans getting an escape from defeat in that point, and a much needed hold on the board. Going to Tisson in the end, of course, almost like a mama bird of Germany ultimate, has coached so many players in her career, and we like to talk about it, is one of the minds behind Play Coach Grow, which of course is an initiative to try and encourage female matching athletes into the sport. She also coaches her home team and is chair of the WFDF Athlete Commission. So if anyone's going to end up with a bit of Frisbee karma, it's going to be Caroline Tisson. So get her on the pitch more, but a nice idea to pull across the D-line to come out and play some offense after those 2 breaks being conceded by the O. And they'll be back out on the field.
Yeah, a separate 7 out there for the Germans. Vida now. Miriam Förster. Lurking. amongst the players out there for Germany right now.
And some peroxide demon action as well.
Yeah, Justin Wallace as isolation set up to Helen Thompson. Travel called, I think, back by the throw. Marika Kuhn's also out there for Germany, as is Daniel Turk. And I think we've got everyone at this point. And a hand block. What a way for the German D-line to get some energy going. Lurking ensures that GB's luck runs out. Marianne Förster had to be scooped trailing edge there by Turk. Whips the break around. Now Wallace underneath. Turk reaches, finds his disconnection teammate Förster, who shoots a bullet down that far sideline into Marika Kuhn. Germany break 10-9. That was more of the ruthless efficiency you expect from the German D-line.
Well, I've always been a long believer, Benji, that defense wins championships. And at the moment, it's the D-lines of the Germany mixed side getting it done. That's one break of the 3 required in this second half to take the lead off of Great Britain and go home. First position potentially in this power pool, of course, determined equally by the result of the game going on field number 10 behind us. But that was a really lovely way to do it. The finishing pass as well, absolutely gorgeous. I'm not enjoying so much the sort of trying to get free on the underneath cuts. So there's some sort of slight changes of momentum. Like if we're talking about skiing, when you're doing your turns, you really want to kind of, put the momentum into that outside foot, really make shapes and kind of curve and carve your way. I'd like to see a little bit more carving curvature when especially the male matching players for Germany mix are trying to get free in the underneath space when they have a little bit of a buffer, because they're not really making a sharp enough movement to really sell the defender and get fully open as they need to.
So the previous D-line for Germany goes out there as the ball lands in but rolls out of the back of the end zone, and Briggs will take the slow march to the front line. Full length of the central zone for Great Britain to go. Looking for what would be their first hold of the second half. Having been broken on their only previous possession. Wilson faking the backhand. Has Briggs coming underneath. Now Dix is the option. And Dick with a brilliant put in stride to Wilson. Nothing too outrageous. Wilson to Vile to Taylor. 11-9. That was much crisper from Great Britain.
Absolutely. Well, if they can keep that form, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed for the Germans to generate too much. Of course, that travel call that came back for the hand block in the earlier possession, but that was absolutely lovely. Again, Sam Wilson being able to use his downfield attacking speed. Little look over the shoulder, the presence of mind. Wiedenau there looking a little bit frustrated body language, a little bit of tension in the shoulders, and I think the Germans need to just have a bit more confidence in themselves. They seem a little bit shy at points, but GB cannot be told for not having confidence here. Like the way Taylor has a little stutter step to maybe threaten that early turn for Sam Wilson, but just waits for Vile, of course, who's captained GB Mixed in the past. I believe taking just a playing role this season, though, Benji.
Yeah, he is indeed stepping back a little bit and letting others have a chance to lead this outfit.
I like that kind of move of, stepping away from the official management position and trying to empower the next generation of leaders through.
Yeah, one of the relative veterans on this side at 33.
Well, he's been playing since he was a junior back in Kent. Is
he a Kentish man or a man of Kent? It depends on which side of the Medway you're born.
That is a good point. I have no idea, Benji.
I'll make a mental note. Metzger. Great Britain trying something a little bit different this time. Just going to sit in those lanes and allow those swings. Mikhail tried to pass off Hogan downfield. No one picked up. And now Hogan wants to work with Volchak. As Volchak finds Preen in the backfield. Back to Volchak. Great Britain find their matchups again. Metzger. Metzger with the overshot. No! Preen was magnificent. Only the second clean hold of the game for Germany, but they made it harder than perhaps they needed to. Metzger gave Preen the opportunity for the hero bid, and as she so frequently does, she delivers.
Well, I have to say that was definitely a case of making Nikki Preen look very good. She always does. Such a wonderful athlete. Just the way she turns. I really enjoyed watching her last season, in particular just owning the end zone for the World Games Germany team and kind of taking the disc in stride easily, but showing us in this game how able she is to grind it out. You see Horgan there going up well. Turner realizing he couldn't quite make the play, just galloping through. And this is a trust ball for sure. We get a little bit finnied by the back of Hannah Smith's head.
I mean, to be fair, Milan's in there a bit as well. He should know better.
He absolutely should, but everyone's trying to get their own perspective, denying our cameras the full look. But that was absolutely sensational from Nikki Preen, a hero on this fine Wednesday morning. The conditions today in Limerick, a thrower's breeze, a little bit slippy underfoot on these soft pitches, but perfect layout weather. You can see the first contact there, clearly the hips well in bounds.
So the first clean hold of the game for Germany since they made it 6 apiece, and only their second in total. Taylor swings to Dick. Now Kwon, looking at Barnes central. Barnes collects and goes to Helen Thompson. Dick curls around Bleckler. Wilson gets it out of his hands quick to Dick. Taylor again motoring away. And GB content to just work their way down slowly in bits and pieces. Flick into space for Briggs. Wants to be aggressive, take on an option downfield. Finds the break to Kwon. Kwon to Briggs, no! The layout block. Again, Dom Lurking denying the GB offense.
Lurking is really an apt surname for him. Of course, sounds a lot like the British word lurking. He's always lurking around, ready to pounce and make a defensive play. A bit of nominative determinism, perhaps.
Picked up by Vida now. And Briggs nearly got it right back. Didn't, and ended up landing on Lurking. And foul, unsurprisingly, immediately accepted. And Lurking calls the timeout here. Germany know how important the break to bring this back on serve would be. Down 10-7. This would make it a 4-1 run for the Germans, and how crucial that could be in deciding the outcome of this contest. GB leading 11-10.
Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories, The present is a gift. And here at ulti.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
11-10, Great Britain leading, but Germany with the timeout, looking to bring us back on serve. We were noticing that we hadn't seen Lily Trautmann this game. Any updates there, Hannah?
I have indeed, from our man inside the Germany camp, their wonderful social media manager, Bobby Williams, has confirmed that there's a muscle strain. She's currently being looked after by their physios. Of course, most of the teams here have brought their own medical staff alongside with them. In fact, one of the physios provided by the tournament was slightly bemoaning this fact they've not been particularly busy. But of course, that's exactly what we want to see, is extremely bored physios at Ultimate tournaments, because it means that everyone's staying mostly in good shape. But she's not ruled out for the week yet. It's entirely possible that Trautmann will return. Of course, would be much needed in the championship bracket games because she's such a good defender.
Fingers crossed for Germany, and I think just for most people at the tournament that she's back, because you do want to see kind of the best of everyone out there. Germany getting a little bogged down, but the break goes off to Miriam Förster. Now Neubert looking, rips it. Looking for Wallace towards the far side. And Wallace, even he couldn't get that one.
Yeah, I wondered, because it's difficult to see from our position exactly where that far end zone line is. The open arms, was it a pre-celebration or was it just, nope, just ran out of room.
Exasperation. Justin Wallace has the wheels, the 0-0, but yeah, he knew.
Well, another deep shot not connected upon. Really not a game of throws today.
Things for both sides to iron out. The game has wrapped up on the field behind us. Ireland 15-9 victors.
So this, Benji, a win for Germany, of course, trying to grind it out to avoid being fourth in this mixed power pool.
Yeah, if Germany win, they're first, and if they lose, they're fourth.
Whereas it's a 2 or a 3 position for GB. Oh no, so 1 or... Forget me for a moment.
No, you were right. They cannot finish first in the pool with that loss to Ireland yesterday. Dick, as Briggs comes off the front, but a foul is called. Maybe a bit of a push on his way through. Did feel like a high stool. Not that that impacts the foul call that was away from the disc.
Well, the only other game to also wrap up so far in this mixed division is 15-6 win, Belgium over Denmark.
Yeah, Switzerland up 11-6 on Norway. Those both in the lower pool, as is Latvia 12, Czech Republic 11. One open game going on again in the lower pool. Netherlands 14, Israel 11, and the Dutch women are up 13-3 on Spain again in the lower pool. With those sides trying to fight their way up into the pre-quarters. Barnes stays calm as Andrew Dick just about squeezes it past Förster. Good concentration and sticky hands from Helen Thompson. Now Dick opens it up, looking for Taylor at the back, and Taylor just past the bidding Neubert. 12-10, but I think GB, you can tell that they are really playing in the margins. The defensive intensity has definitely ratcheted up a notch or two from the Germans.
Absolutely. Saskia Neubert inches away from denying Ellie Taylor the goal. You can see how much of the top line speed Taylor had to use to escape her mark and clutch that goal so much that she went spinning around like a whirling dervish after making that catch. Such a reliable receiver and collecting Her third goal in this game for Great Britain. Of course, a beautiful shot out of the palm of Andrew Dick. That'll be his second assist. But Ellie Taylor, just what the doctor ordered. She should know, because she is one. Currently residing in Cambridge, but originally from Falkirk.
Yeah, a true Scottish connection, that, because Dick is originally from north of the border as well, although now based in Leeds.
Indeed. I believe the two might have been teammates on that Black Eagles side, but of course now Andrew Dick, an Alba player, and yes, indeed, Black Eagles connections.
And played for a couple of years out across the pond for that most angry of monkeys, Furious George. Based in, of course, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Husol has the first pass to Hogan. Just sitting the break out into space for Mari Förster. As the two first assisters playing on different lines. Priyan Volchak. Volchak, oh, I think she hesitated as she went to release, couldn't stop it. Mikhail short to Boxall. Now Thompson. Back into Boxall's mitts. Mikhail. What do you think about the scoring option? No, he sees Boxall free enough for the reset instead. Lewis. And a collision in the centre there between Hogan and Thompson. Unintentional, and it does seem that Thompson's okay to continue. There was a pick.
Yeah, I think Boxall just basically cutting hard through the front of the stack, just clipping players off of each other as they try to keep up.
That is going to happen if you set the offense up in that way. Delivers the low release into Link, and Link to Thompson. Great Britain break. They've got victory in their sights. They lead by 3, needing just 2 more. 13-10.
Out of position, defenders exploited with aplomb. Nice find from Carla Link to see the celebration there. You're not seeing double. That is, of course, the Thompson
There's not 4
twins.
Thompsons.
No, just the 2 of them. Of course, if you're not familiar with the Thompson twins, where have you been?
Yep, the Canadians now both based in the UK.
But of some British heritage, of course, it was Helen Thompson that came across first. As we see again, a look at the turnover, that undercooked shot from Lev Kovalchuk. I really enjoy watching Alice Beeching celebrate every single turnover that her line generates, whether or not it's a hand block from her or just a miscue further up the field. It's a real fantastic expression of defensive energy is the expressions of Alice Beeching when she's on defence.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love watching her play.
And she'll be taking the field again, that number 1, just trotting onto the line. Now matching point with Cameron Agnew readying himself for the pole, but this is do or die time for Team Germany. It just seems like there's something curious in their minds, maybe also being impacted by that strange start to the day after that topsy-turvy game against the Italians. We've had another suggestion of wasp trappage. Set up a glass of orange juice somewhere else and let them just busy themselves with that. That coming in from Rachel Douglas, fellow commentator.
Yeah, I think that Rob was trying that yesterday. We had a Sour Patch Kid placed tantalisingly above a can of Fanta. Well, other sweeties and soft drinks are available.
I think it was more the open bag that they were very excited by, but they did still. The unfortunate thing for us, we set it up inside Media City. It needs to be outside, I think. But what would you rather have, folks? Rain or wasps?
Rain. But that's easy for me to say from inside the tent, I guess. Stoppage of some sort. Might be a discussion about potentially a pick, but Link not close enough to call it. Everyone now seems happy enough. Kovshov just roaming a little bit away from Metzger, and Hogan takes on the swing. Downfield to Preen. Germany's offense looking a bit more fluid after the resumption. Hogan cannot unveil himself of Agnew's clutches. Diekman past the bidding Turner. Kovshov wisely picks up the switch. Can't allow danger, free deep. I would spell danger indeed. Prunes. Metzger slashes towards the far side, putting a little bit of air underneath it, and a beautiful edge beyond the defending Ruth Taylor into Lev Kovalchuk for 13-11. They've got the hold they need. Now can they find the breaks?
Well, we have seen the Germany mixed side be proved capable of getting breaks in this game. 3 on the bounce to respond to that early break that the GB team took early stages in this matchup. But certainly all the pressure on their shoulders, and I think the moment just seems like they're off the rhythm in the handler space. They are not quite able to pull loose the marks of the handler matching defenders, especially on the male matching players. Massive shout out to all the GB athletes who are staying toe to toe, especially the matchups of David Metzger. There was a moment there that really frustrated even me, where he was, had some space, just needed to continue his cut through, but actually did a sort of jab step halfway through his cut, almost like he was going to change direction, that just allowed the GB player almost to catch up, if anything.
13-11. GB O-line comes back out there. Not looked at their best, really, in the second half. Just the one clean hold since the resumption. As opposed to 3 clean breaks for their D-line.
Well, GB have been so good with the sideline energy. Can the Germans get themselves fired up in the same manner?
Possession begins with the swing to Lewis and again to Wilson. Dick has a bit of space downfield. Vanderholm just began to come in there for the block, didn't get it, peeled away. Briggs. Just sits one out for Lewis. Glasses off today for Lewis, contact in. Helen Thompson, there's a pick downfield.
Yeah, Herschmeyer just getting caught up in the back cleat of Fiona Kwan.
Slap a hand, spirits high between both sides in what has been a very well-spirited game, I think. Thompson. Lewis accelerates, tight now to the sideline. Again, to Dick, to Briggs. A few yards out. Both sides have had some red zone struggles this game. Looking very static downfield. Dick to Thompson, open side. Litterman right on the hip of Kwan. So Thompson goes to Dick up line. 14-11, GB 1 away. Can the Germans score 4 on the spin for the win? It's a tough ask.
I don't see it, Benji. That was the moment when the Germans needed to get a break. I think even we could see GB take this one 15-11 with the energy and momentum that they currently have in this second half. Just throwing darts at Germany, who are going to presumably, if this one indeed goes the way it currently lies, and it is indeed a GB victory, and that's going to be the 4th spot in this power pool taken by the German mixed side. Of course, Germany looking to potentially go for a clean sweep here. And in the other power pool, of course, power pool E.
Yeah, France have won every game, but have been scared along the way, especially yesterday when they had to break to beat Poland on Universe, which was actually the first time France had led all game. Feels cruel a little bit on the polls, but just good mental strength from them.
Absolutely. So it looks then like potentially a Lithuania-Germany match up for pre-quarterfinals.
It'll be interesting to see how it all breaks down. I think as the 4th place team in Pool F, they'd play the 5th place team in Pool E.
There we go. Shows what I know.
And that who would be, if I can find my rankings, Finland probably, which is a game Germany would back themselves to win, but one of the things I think both sides were relishing was the parity in the division, and they know that you have to be right at it against every opponent or you'll be punished. Metzger pivots infield to open up the inside. No mark on Förster. Volchak, that mop of hair. Can't connect with Hogan. Metzger pops it up. Agnew steals it away.
For me, that was all about the setup for the spacing with Bailey Melvin Teng. Such intelligent defense, near and far from the mark.
Becky Thompson being aggressive, hitting the around to Agnew. Mikhail takes off deep. Agnew likes it. Can Mikhail get there? He's got a way to go. Oh, and I thought he might have had that, and he didn't bid.
I'm honestly a little bit stunned. I mean, all smiles is Conor Mikhail. Pulls up his sort of, shorts. Well, not on the replay. So we're bumping straight into the replay. That was just bizarre.
He gave up on it.
He always
It looked like he
makes the
gave
bid.
up on it.
He did. I mean, maybe backing himself to get a hand block here, but potentially a squandered opportunity for GB's D-line.
Yeah, would have been a chance to end the game there. And Germany is not going to let them get any freebies close to the end zone. Immediately hucking to Diekman. And Diekman to Preen, who lays out once more. 14-12. There's the hold for Germany after GB gave them another life.
Well, it's not a break to finish it off for the GB side. Goodness gracious me, it's because I can see how exhausted Nikki Preen looks right now. She's been asked to reel in some serious miscues. That's her 4th goal of the game so far. So involved in a 3rd of Germany's holds for the O-line. But every potential here as we draw to the close of the time cap, surely.
Yeah, it'll be a game to 15 regardless at this point.
But 2 minutes left of the regulation 100 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the full stretch, if not the full points tally. But then again, this is where we could see the comeback of the tournament so far, Benji.
Well, we've seen Germany string 3 points in a row together earlier in the game. I'll have to do it again here and tack on one more. Spirits seeming high from both sides on the side of the pitch. I think the fact that it's not do or die, so to speak, it's not must win, even though, of course, you always want to be winning, means that, you can revel in the occasion. And this is why you come to these tournaments. It's to test yourself against the highest quality competition. And that's happened for both sides today as that pool lands out of bounds on the sideline.
And even though GB cannot finish top of the pool, certainly this puts them in a better positioning, jostling into the championship bracket. Of course, we may well get a rematch of the final in Jure back in 2019, which of course was GB France, which at the moment looks like it could well happen, Benji.
Briggs, again, they want to end it with the big shot. Dick, is he going to bid? He doesn't even have to. He just has the speed to chase down Erdmann, peeled off the back. But Dick would not be denied, and Great Britain seal a 15-12 victory for the win.
Yeah, even in a sandwich of defenders, the Scotsman flies through. Been playing for 12 years, not the biggest receiver in the world. He's only 6 foot, but the speed on the 31-year-old is absolutely insane. He's known for his deep strikes coming out of Dundee University, and closing this one off for Great Britain, 15-12. And for me, Benji, it was all about that explosion out into the second half for Great Britain. Those 2 breaks to take it to 10-7. It just seemed to snuff out the remaining life's energy in the Germany offensive line. They had to bring out the D-line to get that first point on the board in the second half. Maybe it's the loss of Holzer. Maybe it's the fact that they are missing a couple of personnel, or maybe a bit sore, of course. Lily Trautmann not cleating up for this game, perhaps coming back for the championship bracket, recovering from that muscle strain. But it really did look like they were missing some key pieces when they were out on offense, and some straight up miscues, Benji.
Yeah, a few aberrations that I'm sure if these two sides meet again, GB will probably not expect to have, maybe those same execution errors from the Germans. But if they give them to you, you've got to take advantage. And they did a much better job of that today than they did in their loss to Ireland yesterday.
Well, we are going to be bringing you a sideline interview. I say a sideline interview. She's going to be joining us in our booth. It's the 54 for Great Britain, who did some damage in the first half, especially taking on those female matchups. It's the lovely Jen Kwan. Jen, how are you feeling? You must be feeling pretty good right now.
It's Fi Kwan. Yeah.
I said it right during the whole game. Apologies calling you your sister's name.
That's okay. She's cool too. So, sorry, what was the question?
How are you feeling?
Yeah, really good. We knew that they were going to come after us today following the game against Italy, and equally after our game against Ireland, we knew we had to come out firing as well to do as well as we could for the pool and set us up well for the rest of the tournament. So really great game from us, great grit. We executed better than yesterday, and that's what it took.
I spoke to Cam Agnew before the game, and he said that you were happy with generally the pressure you were generating, but on both the O-line and the D-line having generated the turn, needed to kind of be more clinical with it. Do you feel like you achieved that in this game?
Absolutely. We got a lot more breaks today than we did yesterday. But from an O-line perspective, when you're playing against the best defenses in Europe, you're going to get broken, you're going to get turned, and it's about resetting and refocusing rather than getting heads down. And I think both lines delivered on both of their objectives today. And yeah, we had some great offensive flow, great offensive points from both lines.
There was definitely a lot of noise coming from the Great British sideline, so energy was high throughout the game. But talk to us a little bit about what you said in the circle coming into the second half, because of course then coming out exploding with those 2 breaks of score to start seconds.
Yeah, so we got ourselves into a little bit of a hole, or not really, we got broken a couple times in the first half, and to bring it back to trading is something that we haven't done successfully yet this season. So that was enough to really hype us up. The fact that our D-line was giving the O-line that buffer, the fact that the O-line was playing good defense and getting the disc back after the turn was really enough to rally the troops. And I think Irish sideline yesterday was really loud, and so we knew that actually that is an important thing that we had to do yesterday, and we were able to carry it through today. So keeping that energy high, keeping everyone positive was an important part, of winning this game for us.
Obviously, we now head into the bracket stage with the power pools fully wrapped up. Does the mentality change at all? Is the preparation slightly different, or is it kind of focusing on keeping the energy the same all week and the process, just trusting in that?
We're tightening the screws all the time. You come to tournaments and you get better, and that's exactly what we're doing. So this is ramping up, and it's ramping up to the last day, and that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to deliver.
Lovely. Thanks, Fee. We'll let you get back
Cheers.
to the team to celebrate and go through the Spirit Circle. We do appreciate you giving up your time here, as always.
No worries. Thanks.
2 blocks, an assist, and a goal there for Fee Kwan, as you see the end of game highlights reel. A game that saw Great Britain take the victory and a bit of positive momentum into the bracket stage, and a pre-quarter final awaits them with Ireland having topped the pool. Thanks very much for watching ulti.TV's coverage of the European Ultimate Championships. On behalf of all of our crew and Hannah Pendlebury alongside me, as I put my teeth back in, Benji Rees, we will see you from the other side.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ulti.TV.